So we're now heading to our last debate of the evening, the Sport Union President debate. This is set to be a close call between the four candidates in the running: Isaac Beaver, Beth Cash, Stephen Bates and Aaron Doherty. They're all competing to be your next sport president, but let's hear what they'll be letting themselves in for.
Candidate Interview Night 2016.
York Sport President.
The York Sport President coordinates and develops sport within YUSU and works to increase opportunities as well as participation.
So now we're going to hand over to URY Sports Editor Josh Kerr with the last debate of Candidate Interview Night.
Candidate Interview Night 2016.
York Sport President Candidates Debate.
That's right, it's the candidates debate for the York Sport Union President. The candidates joining me in the studio are Stephen Bates, Isaac Beaver, Beth Cash and Aaron Doherty. Across the four candidates we're talking to this evening, one has knocked out their front teeth in the bath when they were younger, another has run the Amsterdam Marathon in 3 hours and 15 minutes, another once was able to whistle through their ear, and the other is part Anglo-Indian. A very good evening to all four of you. Going to begin. Each of you have 30 seconds to sum up the main points of your manifesto. We're going to start with Stephen and work across.
Okay, I'm running on the basis of my compass policies of nurture, engage, support and win to develop the University of York clubs with policies like a York Sport app, month-to-month drop-in physio sessions, as well as a transparency policy with the AU fee.
My four policies are communication, advertisement, support and health and safety. I want to improve all of these aspects within the union to develop sport for every club, big or small.
My policies revolve around three main points. These are accessible and affordable sport, support and development for all students in sport, regardless of whether they're part of a club or just want to take part in sport casually, and also equality in sport, regardless of your economic background. If you're part of LGBTQ, race, gender, whatever, just everyone feel comfortable and equal in sport.
My three main points are inclusivity and collaboration. So we're looking to expand the equal opportunity scheme, looking to include mental health awareness sessions in club committee training, but also performance and careers as well. So looking to start a York Sport Talks initiative, bringing prominent sports people to give talks at York. Also providing funding for coaching and refereeing qualifications for students, and also sociability, expand the Courtyard Sports Hub to include uni and college sport.
Now, obviously at York there's very much two brackets of sport you can break it up into. There are performance and there are participation. We're going to start this time with Isaac and work back the other way. Which should take precedence, performance or participation?
I think there shouldn't be a precedence there. I think sport should be open to all, and I think that's a massive part of sport because it's something that is a part of students' life in every way. It's part of a general well-being. It's for everyone basically. But I also think that if you come here as a good athlete and you want to improve, that should be there for you as well. And there's the infrastructure. I know we're getting new buildings. I know we're getting new facilities, but there should be greater support there as well. We've got the York Sport Union scholars, but we need to have greater support across the board as well for people that are good athletes.
I don't think either one is particularly more important than the other. At the end of the day, without participation, you're never going to get anyone who is able to compete in the performance side of it. In the same way, the performance side, if not stressed enough, if you don't support the people who are performing really highly, there's no one then to inspire people to participate. So it's really important to get everyone involved, make sure there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved, try new things, and they feel comfortable in all of the sports clubs to increase participation. But at the same time, you need to support those athletes and those people who are performing at a high level who can help raise the university's name in sport, inspire others to participate in sport, and be there to coach and lead those who just want to participate.
Yeah, I agree. Neither one should be or is more important than the other. You need to get those people that have never done it before, because you never know, there could be people that are going to be great performers that haven't tried it yet. So it's important to get those people into sport so you can build them up. A lot of people just want to do York for sport for fun, and I think that's really important. But similarly, acknowledging those that do want to do it at a higher level and pushing them to get them to as high a level as we can.
Yeah, I have to stay with what the candidate's been saying. It's a real false dichotomy in sport between performance and participation, and actually the two are involved in a bit of a virtuous circle whereby people like to be part of performing clubs, and if clubs have strong, good atmospheres, then they perform better. And I think that actually helping clubs develop themselves increases both of them at the same time.
Now, of course, a number of sports clubs here at the University of York take part in Bucks, and that's a huge part of university sport in this country. But what about the clubs here at York that aren't part of Bucks? What support would you give them? That they're still able to have national competitions and compete in the same way that a team in Bucks would be able to. We're going to start with Beth on this one.
Yeah, so I actually come from cheerleading, which is a non-Bucks sport. However, we compete in national competitions. We've become national champions 3 times over the past 3 years. So, yeah, I really strongly believe that we need to get those sports out there that aren't Bucks. They're doing just as well and just as good as all of these sports. So a lot of my policies focus on advertisement. So I want to get all of these clubs recognise what they're doing, what they're achieving, and get that out there. Because whilst Bucks is great and we do really well at that, there is a lot of things that I think the union maybe doesn't recognise as much.
I actually completely agree. I also come from a non-Bucks club. Boxing has never competed in Bucks. We used to be a very, very small club, but this year, hugely grown, massively developed. I think that is exactly what Beth was saying, due to promotion and marketing. Obviously, with Roses last year, massively raised the name of the club. We've now got a lot more members, got a lot more people competing. We've started competing now within inter-university competitions, which I think is really important. So those smaller clubs, those clubs that aren't competing in Bucks, try and get them at least involved in Roses, in inter-university competitions, helping sort of pool our facilities to get them transported to where they need to be so they can take part in those, help give them extra funding for that, give them maybe small segments and promotional videos to put on Facebook, will help really raise the name for those clubs, help them compete, help them be involved within the university, but it doesn't mean they necessarily have to compete in Bucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like this isn't going to be much of a debate, to be honest. I feel I absolutely completely agree. I mean, you just have to look at 2 clubs. You've got futsal and you've got darts as well. I mean, both of them aren't massive Bucks sports, but we'll look at what darts have done. I mean, they've created their own regional competitions. They've created they're having a national competition for the first time held at York, and that's great. I mean, if we give support to clubs that aren't in Bucks, we can hold national competitions. We can get sport at York on the map, but it doesn't have to be through Bucks, and I think that's really important.
I assume you're probably in agreement then, Stephen, with what we've heard from the last.
I can't buck the trend. I think things like the transparency policy with the AU fee, a lot of clubs that don't compete in Bucks feel a bit laboured with the AU fee. So having like a more understanding of how much money is available and the type of things that you can get funded for will help with that. Again, like we're all able to say that there's social media policies and helping out like that. But I think as well, I mean, I come from American football, which is a Bucks sport, but only really achieved that through the hard work of sort of talented and committed members. And I know that within every team at York, those members exist. And if we enable those people to develop their sports and develop their clubs, then we can make sport at York sort of stronger and better within a Bucks perimeter and away from it.
Now, it's very clear that funding is absolutely essential to sport here at York. How would you go about increasing the funding? Because it's clear that really York needs more funding for its sport, for both participation and performance. We're going to start with Aaron on this. What should be the strategy to get that funding that you all 4 of you are saying that York needs?
Obviously, yeah, funding is a big problem. We do really struggle with that. But at the same time, although we need more funding, I think it's really important to make sure you're not trying to squeeze the students for that money. One of the best ways I think to do it, as well as also trying to fundraise and holding big fundraiser events, things which everyone would be excited to be part of, to try and increase the funding. You could also try and reduce the general costs of sport.
Well, yeah, you talk about that, about reducing the cost of sport here at York. How is that going to be feasible? I mean, York Sport, of course, is an external profit-making enterprise. What more really as sports pres do you think could be achieved at changing that? And also, do you think sport at York is currently affordable?
No, I don't think it's entirely affordable at the moment. I've spoken to a lot of people who have said that they struggle to be part of either more than one sports team or even to be involved in sport that much at all, especially with even the gym membership prices that are going up every year. definitely not in line with inflation is either. It's like completely unnecessary.
But how would you then be able to?
Well, we go into talks with those and ask them to sort of come up with ideas. For instance, with the gym in town, you could offer more sort of like off-peak memberships. So basically say to them, right, if you offer an off-peak membership where students can pay still per month, but give them a far cheaper deal, but they can train within these times, you'll then get far more students joining the gym, but save it, so you're getting overall more money, but at the same time saving students money. That's one, for instance, for the gym. Also, you could work with people like nutritionists, personal trainers, the strength and conditioning coaches for at-home training plans. So you don't necessarily have to join the gym or maybe attend as many training sessions. You can work out at home. You can help get these free plans online that we could provide for people, and you can help live a healthier lifestyle, be active, improve your fitness without actually having to break the bank.
Right, now, this is a question perhaps towards more Stephen and Beth. You both in your manifestos mentioned the use of applications. Can I just ask do either of you have the YUSU app? And do either of you use it on a regular basis?
Yeah, I've downloaded it recently, and that's where my idea came from. I looked at it and, I looked at a lot of the different sections and realised actually we're missing out here. There's, phones are so big, apps are so big, like why are we not using it? I looked at the York Sport section on it and it's still got Cass Brown as our York Sport President, which obviously is extremely out of date. We don't have any of the sports clubs on there or anything, and that's what I want to work on. I don't want to create a separate York Sport app because I believe by doing that, you're making sport exclusive. You're taking it away from the union. Whereas I believe we need to work with the student union to build this app up to get sport involved so everybody's there. If you create a separate app, people that aren't necessarily interested in sport aren't going to go and download this app.
Okay, that's in stark contrast to your idea, Stephen. You do want a separate app. Also, do you have the YUSU app, and do you really think people will engage with a York Sport app?
Right, firstly, no, I don't have the YUSU app simply because it doesn't appeal to me. And yeah, I totally disagree. I think the York Sport app as a separate entity would be beneficial for a number of reasons, especially if you think that a lot of people, only play one university sport. But like, as an American footballer, I'm interested in how the football team do. I'm interested in how the rugby team do. I have friends that play handball. I have friends that play basketball. And if I had an app that I could, open on my phone and have everybody's results available on a Thursday morning, how did my housemate do? How did my my girlfriend do? How did my best friend do? I think that's available. And also with the York Sport app, if you can have that, can be open to anybody who's interested within the sport, and if they can put out alerts and things like that. You think about that from a sponsorship point of view. If you can go to a sponsor with an added feather in your cap, back to the fundraising thing of saying, I've got an app that has 4,000 subscribers.
Right, okay, but do you think that engagement will be that for both of you, sort of software development? It's a very expensive thing. Is that not money that could actually just be going directly into pitches or sessions or what else that actually has a frontline effect on York Sport?
Well, I believe that it is expensive. I've looked into it, spoken to people, and that's why I believe developing the app is going to be a heck of a lot cheaper. Okay,
and very quickly from Stephen then.
Yeah, I have friends that develop apps, and I've looked at the professional things as well, and it is possible. And if an app permeates the market, you can bring a very small 5p download charge in to pay for it in the future, as long as it permeates the market early enough.
Right, okay. Isaac, now you talk about mental health sessions and centralised transport and York Sport contacts. Those are perhaps don't again necessarily directly impact the playing side. How important are those peripherals, do you think, to Sport York?
Oh, well, I think York Sport contacts can actually impact the playing side quite a lot, because I'm from a smaller club, table tennis. If you haven't got big sponsors, or if you're not used to that kind of being able to get out and get a sponsor, having a kind of a list there of people that are previously sponsored or are looking to sponsor could be really helpful. Gives you a direction as to what you're going to do. So I think that can help clubs develop, buy new things, buy tables, for example, or travel or go to different competitions to get their name out there. For mental health awareness sessions, I think is key, because we're breaking down barriers, and it's being able to understand, give greater consideration to people, and sport can be such a have such good effect, a positive effect upon people, and if we're able to help a few people, and this is okay. Sorry.
Very quickly then, just across the four of you, York Sport Union have always been very clear that initiations here at York are an absolute no. from my experience speaking to sports clubs as sports editor of the radio station here over the last year and a half I've been in this role, it's very clear initiations happen at York. They're dressed up, they're called various different things. My question across the four of you will work along the line: is there a place for initiations here at York? And if there isn't, how can the union actually combat them and make sure they don't happen?
I think there's not, because I think that anything that forces someone to do something or is not okay, puts people in uncomfortable situations, put pressure on people. That's not okay. So I think the way we can. Do you want me to?
Oh, yeah, very quickly.
Go on, sorry.
I think definitely in the traditional sense, no. I think again, just as it was saying, force people into it is not all right.
Okay, and a word very quickly from Beth and Stephen, just in a sentence.
No, I don't think there's a place for it, and I think working together we can combat it and make it better.
Yeah, again, in the American sense of it, there's no place for it, but it's something, if the sports clubs want to work with the union, they won't do it.
Your union. Your questions. Your candidate interview night.
And that, of